Good day everyone. So today I'm going to discuss the basic router configuration review. So we have here the addressing table that has device, interface, IP address or prefix, and the default gateway. Objectives. Part 1. Configure devices and verify connectivity. Assign static IPv4 and IPv6 addresses to the PC interfaces. Configure basic router settings. Configure the router for SSH. Verify network connectivity. Then the part 2, display router information. We have retrieve hardware and software information from the router. Interpret the startup configuration. Interpret the routing table. Verify the status of the interfaces. So we have here our background or scenario. This activity requires you to configure the R2 router using the settings from the addressing table and the specification listed. The R1 router and the devices connected to it have been configured. This is a comprehensive review of previously covered iOS router commands. In part 1, you will complete basic configuration and interface settings on the router. In part 2, you will use SSH to connect to the router remotely and utilize the iOS commands to retrieve information from the device to answer questions about the router. For review purposes, this lab provides the commands necessary for specific router configurations. Instructions. Part 1. Configure devices and verify connectivity. Step 1. Configure the PC interfaces. A. Configure the IPv4 and IPv6 addresses on PC3 as listed in the addressing table. So, we have here a PC1, PC2, PC3, and PC4. So we will go to PC3, then desktop, then IP configuration. So we are going to type here the IPv4 address, which is this one. Copy that one and then paste it here. So here we are not going to copy the /24 since it is the prefix. Then the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0, and then the default gateway, which is this one. Then copy it and then paste it here. And then proceed to IPv6 addresses. So here, this one. And then here, we are going to type the prefix, which is 64. And then go to the default gateway of the IPv6 address, which is this one. Then paste it here. Okay. Then next is configure the IPv4 and IPv6 addresses on PC4 as listed in the addressing table. So go to PC4, then desktop, and then IP configuration. So here, we're going to paste it. We're going to paste the IP address of this PC4, IPv4 address. Okay, then enter subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0, and then the default gateway, which is this one. Paste it here. Then the IPv6 address. Copy it. And then paste it. Then the prefix, which is 64. Then the default gateway. Okay. So step 2, configure the router. On the R2 router, open a terminal, move to privileged ESIC mode. Then enter configuration mode. Assign a device name of R2 to the router. Configure Cisco 1234 as the encrypted privileged ESIC mode password. Then set the domain name of the router to ccna-lab.com. Then disable DNS lookup to prevent the router from attempting to translate incorrectly entered commands as though they were host names. Then encrypt the plain text passwords. Configure the username as SSH admin with an encrypted password of 55H admin. Then generate a set of crypto keys with 1024-bit modulus. Then assign Cisco as the console password. Configure sessions to disconnect after 6 minutes of inactivity and enable login. To prevent console from messages from interrupting commands, use the logging synchronous command. Then assign Cisco as the VTY password. Configure the VTY lines to accept SSH connections only. Then configure sessions to disconnect after 6 minutes of inactivity and enable login using the local database. Then next is create a banner that warns anyone accessing the device that unauthorized access is prohibited. Then enable IPv6 routing. Then configure all 4 interfaces of the router with the IPv4 and IPv6 addressing information from the addressing table above. Configure all 4 interfaces with descriptions and activate all 4 interfaces. Then save the running configuration to the startup configuration file. Part 2, then CLI. Click enable, then ConnectD or configure terminal. Then hostname R2, just this one. Then enter. Then enable secret. Cisco. Enter. The next is type IP domain name CCNA lab.com. Then enter. The next, no IP domain lookup. Then enter. The next is okay. So type username SSH admin, secret 55H admin, which is the password, the encrypted password. Then enter. Then crypto K generate RSA. We're going to type line console 0, then password. Okay, password Cisco login. Cisco login. Then enter. Then next is type exit timeout space 6. Then enter. Then logging in synchronous. Synchronous. Okay. The next is this one. Going to type here exit. Then type line VTY 015. Then password Cisco. Type login local. Then enter. Then exec timeout 6. Then enter. Then type transport input SSH. Then enter. Then exit. Okay. Type banner MOTD warning unauthorized access is prohibited. Then enter. Then IPv6 unicast routing. Then interface G0/0/0. Then description connecting to S3. Then type IP address 10.0.4.1. Then the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And then the IPv6 address 2001. Copy it. Then the IPv6 address, which is the MAC, which is the default gateway, which is this one. Then type link local. Then enter. No shutdown. Then exit. So G0/0/1. So we are going to type interface G0/0/1 and then connect, then enter, then description connecting to S4, then enter, and then the IP address, which is 10.0.5.1, and then the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0, and then the IPv6 address, and then paste it here, and then enter, and then the IPv6 address, which is the default gateway, type the default gateway, then paste it, and then type link local, and then no shutdown, then exit. The next is interface serial 0/1/0, and then paste the IP address, and then the IPv6 address, which is this one, and then paste it here, and then IPv6 address, the default gateway, and then paste that, and then type link local, then enter, no shutdown, and then enter, then description connecting to R1, then interface serial 0/1/1, and then description connecting to the internet. Okay, and then the IP address is 1, and then paste it here, then type the subnet mask, which is 225.255.255.255.252. Then type the IPv6 address. Okay, copy it in the table, then paste it on the CLI. Okay, and then enter, and then IPv6 address, then type the copy the default gateway. Okay, it didn't work when you paste it, so we're going to type it. Okay, then enter, then type no shutdown, and then type end, and type lastly the copy run start, then enter.